Xbox, Record This is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. If you'd like to find out more, head to xboxrecordthis.com. Oh, hello. Danny Diwali here, and welcome to Xbox Record This, episode 28?
28.
Oh, thank you, assistant to the co-host, for bailing me out there. We are starting right on time, you guys, and you'll be happy to know we are doing this, and it's going to be a fast banger right here because Bubble Boy and Seven wouldn't quit bothering us and nagging us to start earlier because he has to go to bed in about 15 minutes. So
I sent two texts. That's all.
As always, the assistant to the co-host, Chipotle Bear. Chipotle Bear, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. I was telling Bubble Boy before you got here that we are about 1 week away from Thanksgiving break, which feels sublime to have a little bit of time off. And even though Thanksgiving, honestly, is usually a pretty busy holiday for our family, it's not like a super restful one. It's still not as stressful as work has been in the last couple of weeks. So looking forward to that. Of course, excited to chat about some games. There's been some really cool news and developments in the last couple of days. So excited to be here, buddy.
And joining us, as always, the assistant to the co-host, Bubble Boy and Seven. How are you, my friend?
Tired, I think, is the appropriate answer, right? But no, we'll get through. This will be fun as always. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I agree. The fatigue of work and being around those kids at schools and all the craziness that is happening around all schools and districts with discipline and whatnot is just, it's out of control, you guys. So thanks pandemic, thanks to COVID-19 for ruining everything. On a positive note, as I shared with you guys earlier this week, big news, the biggest of all shoutouts is going to happen right now. Shout out to our boy, Freddie Prinze Jr. Bubble Boy thought it was going to be something more important, but nothing is more important than FPJ. Freddie Prinze Jr., you guys, I don't know if you knew this, but he's an A-list celebrity. He liked my tweet when I wrote about my favorite Mass Effect companions. And the best part is I didn't even have Vega in my top 5. He was honorable mention, but he still respected it enough to give us a like. And I quote retweeted the quote about our episode of XRT. So maybe, just maybe, I'm praying and thinking that he definitely listened to an episode of Xbox Record This. So huge shout out to Freddie Prinze Jr. FPJ, we got to get you on as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And in celebration, Bubble Boy and Seven, take it away.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you forgot to tell him the rest of the story that you said you were afraid to slide into his DMs and make sure he came on here.
Well, he doesn't have his DMs open to plebs like us.
It's a fair guess that would happen, to be fair.
Yeah. Well,
and for all the haters out there that are wondering if it was really him, we did check. It is a verified account as well. So don't worry, we did the homework.
Yep, it's got
FPJ,
check
we love
mark.
you, buddy.
Very exciting. I thought it was awesome. I had told quite a few different people at work, and they were like, "Wow, really?" Like, I mean, he's a very household recognizable name that isn't just like a video game nerd name. Like, very well-rounded young man is what I'll say. When I went back and started to make my list for what we're going to do to open up today, which is the top 5 Freddie Prinze Jr. roles, not necessarily the movies or the TV shows or the games, because we all know Mass Effect 3 would take the cake, but the roles that he played, top 5, I was like, man, that guy's, he's done such a wide spectrum of things.
Speaking of that, yeah, let's get into it, Bubble. And I'd like to go first because I have a feeling you guys are going to be disappointed with my list.
Yeah, all 2 names on your list, like always.
Pretty much. So here's the funny thing, guys. I became a huge fan of Freddie Prinze because a lot of people in high school told me that I was his doppelganger or he was mine, especially my ex at the time, obsessed with him and was like, man, I'm dating FPJ right here. So shout out to T-Money for that one.
That's a weird flex, but okay.
That's literally the only reason why I love Freddie Prinze Jr. so much. I haven't really seen that many of his films. I'm not going to lie. Don't tell him that because we need him on the show. But these are the ones that stood out to me. And we'll see what you guys think of my list because Chances he's done a lot. He has, and one of them I'm going to say right now, I haven't seen or heard, I guess, his work on the Star Wars Rebels. I hear he plays a pretty prominent character there, but I have not seen that. So here's number 5, Summer Catch. I put a question mark. I don't remember if I've seen this movie. So number 5, I had to put something on there.
Hold on, I was going to say, how does that make your list if you don't know if you've seen it?
It looked like a cool idea,
Okay.
and it had, I think it had Jessica Biel in it or something. Number 4, I think I've seen this once. She's All That. I don't know if I've actually seen that or the Scream ripoff of it. I'm very confused.
Thank God he's not on here tonight.
It gets better.
Yeah, FPJ, I'm so sorry.
He'll probably be like, that's okay. He's cool. He's like, come on, guys. That was during my 90s phase. You know, he's over that. So number 3, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and the next one. Those were good movies. They're very scary. So I do remember seeing those. And number 2, this almost was my number 1, Cole Ortiz in 24. Loved him in 24. Loved all the twists that season. I had no idea what was going on with his wife, by the way, Bubble Boy. Totally forgot about all that. And his wife in that show, Smoking Hot, also in The Mandalorian. And number 1, of course, James Vega. Shout out to my boy, one of my favorite companions in Mass Effect 3. I loved that he called, of course I was like, yeah, you can call me Loco. And I loved, his little Mexican flair in there. So shout out to James Vega, one of the broriest of bros in Mass Effect, but also one of the best companions and brothers you can have in a video game. So that is my top 5 Freddie Prinze Jr. list. Who would like to go next?
Let me go next, but Chance can back clean up here because he clearly did the most homework and also I think had the widest spectrum. So here's the game that I was playing in my house, and I mean this with all due respect because my wife is a huge Freddie Prinze Jr. fan. I asked her, can you name 5 movies he was in? And she could not, as a legitimate huge fan, which is kind of funny because I think he's a very big celebrity. Like if he ever did anything around me, I'd be starstruck, right? So doing my own research, I had James Vega as my honorable mention because when I played the game, I didn't know that he was actually the voice of that character. I'll be honest with you. The first time I played, obviously.
Okay.
Like
Somebody
Daniel.
boot. I'm booting him right now.
Jose, sneak your soundboards in.
That is
I get it real quick.
incredible. But let me interrupt really quick, Jose. You said that your West Big fan. Allie was like flipping out that I said that Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, so was
liked
Victoria.
it. Like, oh, are you Freddie? Honey, he's like a real big actor. I'm like, is he? Like, no offense. Again,
Yeah,
respect.
no, he did.
And even when I was looking up his IMDb, filmography, I'm like, he really had a good run there. But like,
he did
in the late '90s. But other than that, I'm like, no offense. Like again, like I love FPJ.
I think that's not true. You can see so much like of an expansion of what he was doing later on.
Okay, well,
we'll get into
Chances.
to it.
Yes, I trust me.
Okay.
I love him, and if I saw him, I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, you're Freddie Prinze Jr." Absolutely, but
Sign my
continue, Jose,
chest,
please. Yes.
So number 5 for me on the list officially is Scooby-Doo 2. I actually really liked those Scooby-Doo movies. I know they got a lot of hate when they came out, and definitely for like Sarah Michelle Gellar, Matthew Lillard. I forgot the actress who plays Velma's name, who also is a great actress. I like those movies. So number 2 is number 5 for me. Number 4 was Head Over Heels. It was another one of those movies during that time. I've actually seen that movie a couple of times. I liked the movie. It was a good romantic comedy for the time, decent soundtrack. Number 3, which I think is actually a pretty classic horror movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer with Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, like Ryan Phillippe. It was actually a pretty all-star cast for the time. I thought it was a pretty decent story. Obviously, as Dan mentioned, it was in the realm of like the Scream era and that kind of stuff. And ironically, right, because you said Scream, he was not in Scream, but Matthew Lillard was in Scream, and then they were both in Scooby-Doo. So it's kind of a cool.
I thought I said
I
know what you did last summer, didn't I, Chance? I did.
No, you said Scream.
You mentioned Scream in
and along with those movies is what I was saying. Thank you.
Anyway, because Matthew Lillard is also in Summer Catch with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, that was number 3. Number 2 was the first of those Scooby-Doo movies. Again, I really liked them. I thought they were good movies. I've already watched them with my kids. They really liked them. So shout out to him for those and for being Fred. And then, of course, my number 1, hands down, as Zach Seiler, right, trying to change Lainey Boggs from this artistic nerd wearing glasses to the prom queen with Usher DJing, everybody dancing to Rockefeller Skank by Fatboy Slim, classic 90s film. She's All That as my number one, hands down, and had a lot of stars in it as well. So yeah, that is my top 5 list. What do you got, Bubba Boy?
Well, it's so funny. Our lists are so, I want to say similar, but just not even close to similar. It's so funny. And as I was, so Lana, I think I don't know, she'd probably be mad at me, 25, 26. And when I told her, I was like, yeah, FPJ, he's a huge fan of the show. She was just like, who? Oh, she's All That. She's All That. And then all the ladies, oh yeah, she's All That. So, I'm going to start my list with my number 5, not She's All That. I actually prefer Down to You, which got a whopping 13 on Metacritic rating. And certainly not the same.
Julia Stiles, right?
Yes, exactly. Not the same exact movie as She's All That, clearly, because that was much more well received. But I preferred Down to You. I liked his role in that movie. I also liked the music. There was some good Goo Goo Dolls in Down to You, so I'm sure that's the only one that's massively different, but that one I really liked. Number 4, again, like you guys all had, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Not a whole lot more to say there. Number 3, Cole Ortiz from 24. Of course, it was great. Number 2 is where I put James Vega in Mass Effect, and can anybody guess what I have for number 1?
Air Commander.
No, I have no idea.
Summer Catch.
Friends.
It was Summer Catch. Absolutely fantastic movie. I'm shocked that the way you talked about it, Daniel. It is so good. If you haven't seen it, you need to get on and see it soon.
I have a feeling I did, yeah.
It's so good. Again, and another Matthew Lillard co-star in there, and just well done. You gotta love baseball. Like, baseball is just a romantic thing to me, and it was really well done. And then honorable mention that I don't remember any of you guys saying was he played the Iron Bull in Dragon Age Inquisition. He was the Iron Bull. So
yeah, I saw that in the IMDb thing.
Yep.
Was Summer Catch, who was the female love interest in that?
I want to say Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel. Yeah, it was. That's what I was. I feel like I've seen it.
Yeah.
I get it confused with Fever Catch with Jimmy Fallon. I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah, so Summer Catch is when he's actually like the pitcher. He's in a
I think I've seen this.
In
like a AAA baseball team.
Well,
right?
in Massachusetts, like the Summer League. God, why can't I think of the name?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to
yeah,
FPJ.
big time. That was fun.
Like I said, big fan, and it's fun to remember some of his older movies and stuff. But he's also well known for having a beautiful wife, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, and they have kids. And he's also a big cook. I think he made a cookbook with his wife or something. He loves to cook. Follow him on Twitter. He also has his own podcast, video game oriented. It's called Good Evening and Good Game. I don't know if you guys have seen it, or Geghead is what
I have not. I'll check it out.
Yeah,
That's awesome,
definitely check it out.
I'm going to download that right now.
A shout out to FPJ. He's a big Xbox fan. Loves Sea of Thieves. Loves huge Xbox fan. And he plays Sea of Thieves a lot. So make sure to follow him on Twitter, all you young kids out there. Gentlemen, what have we been playing? And I'm actually afraid to ask this because I have a feeling I'm going to be very angry with Chipotle Bear. So Chipotle Bear, why don't you lead us with what you've been playing this week?
I'm curious why you're going to be upset with me, but I can tell you. So I did play Visage. Probably spent about 4 hours getting into it, and I will handily give it to you that it is scary as all crap. Unfortunately, after 4 hours, I quit. It is not the kind of game that I thought it was. It's not a bad game. Please don't think that. And I know a lot of people love it, and I love horror games. It's if you ever played PT, that game that was like a
watched it.
It was like a cult following on PlayStation because it was only available on the store, and it was like a precursor kind of to Silent Hill, and it was in the first person.
And it was by Hideo Kojima, Jose, our boy.
I know. It was. It's like that. So it's a first-person game, and you start out with a very disorienting and disturbing story, and then you don't have any other context. And basically, you're exploring this house where paranormal things happen. I mean, it's very beautiful graphically. It's got an incredible soundtrack. That's what makes it partially so scary. The problem is I I don't love that there's not a story immediately that I'm like, okay, this is our plot. It's, you're kind of exploring this. And it's the other part of this, I'll be really honest, why I don't love it. There's no way to really defend yourself. I don't like that in games. Like, you remember Outlast, where you were the first person, it was scary as all heck. Again, I played it, it was a cool game, but I hated the fact that I could literally do nothing to defend myself if I saw the bad guy. I don't like that. Like, I like the games where I have a chance based on skill to like eliminate them. So anyway, I played that for about 4 hours and then quit, but it was great. Anyone that loves it, good for you. It just wasn't for me. And then I was looking for something in between Forza for me, because I didn't buy the initial DLC stuff, so I couldn't get into it early. And I was like, I need something short. And I picked up PGA 2021, Rory McIlroy PGA. It's on Game Pass right now. And I've had a great time with it, man. I've already played in like 6 or 7 tournaments, and I've really got my groove down now. It's different from the past because you don't start as like a nobody. You start basically on the tour, and the skills start at like a decent level. But it's great, man. It's a very relaxing game. Like, it's just good old fashioned playing some golf, and there's frustrating hits and great hits and that kind of stuff. So if you're into sports at all, or if you love the golf games, definitely worth checking out. Again, totally free on Games Pass. And then obviously now getting ready for the midnight lunch for me of Forza, and then of course the 10-hour preview of Battlefield 2042. Is it tomorrow when Forza releases?
No, it's been out. Right? That's why I was very confused. It came out Tuesday. So
well,
somebody
I haven't had a chance to play.
Somebody booched Chipotle Bear. That was why I was upset. I'm like, why is he not playing Forza Horizon right now?
Because I want to get into it, and I didn't have time, dude.
Okay.
I'm planning on it this weekend. I'm really excited to get into Forza, but that's what I've been playing.
I'm going to go next year, Bubble Boy, and we'll end with you and your overall thoughts on Forza. Obviously, I've been playing it. I got it early. We literally started playing it right after we recorded last week. I've probably got like 15, 20 hours into it. Haven't done a single race, you guys. All I've been doing, and I texted you this earlier, has been driving around all of Mexico, loving seeing the sights. There's an achievement for driving all the roads. I already got that achievement for getting on the bonus boards. My gosh, some of those bonus boards, what a pain in the caca. Got them all. I really feel like
the one in that like canyon on the rock. It was that one of the hardest.
That was easy.
Which one am I?
Hard one was the one up on the power lines. Awful.
Oh, okay.
There's one way up high.
I haven't gotten all
and the
of
hotel
them. I haven't seen all of them yet, but
have fun with that one. So, and I just want to say, shout out again to Playground Games, Forza, 10 out of 10. It's the game of the year contender. I think it might win game of the year potentially if Halo doesn't deliver. I think Halo is going to be good, but I think Forza is finally getting the recognition it deserves. I saw that it's over 6 million people on the leaderboard, which is insane for a racing only game. So I'm so happy that Forza is getting its due. But I also I find it kind of funny because a lot of people are like praising it. And I'm like, it's been like this since like Forza 3 and just gotten better and better. And I just feel like you're a little late. Like, what took you so long? So
can I interject? Because did you listen to Podcast Unlocked yet this week?
Yeah.
Because they kind of,
by the way, we weren't featured, but they didn't have a question. So maybe next week.
Because they talked about that and they were like, I think the biggest difference was Game Pass and how Horizon 4 was on Game Pass.
Yeah, but even then, like 4 was on. It was on Game Pass. 4 was one of the first.
That's what I'm saying. And so, like, the fact that it was on there got so many people talking about the game and playing the game.
You're saying for the launch of this one.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I can see that. Again, I just feel bad. Like it's just taken this late to get here. But you're right. That's actually a great point. It's like so many people tried it on Game Pass, and now they were ready to be there day one and excited for it. I'm so happy it got a 10. I hope it gets, I hope it does win a game of the year for somewhere, from some site. Technically beautiful. Chance, I wanted to ask you, you can answer when you go. Are you playing on performance or the fidelity mode? I have to say I was very impressed with fidelity at 30 frames. Even going to 60, I was like, you can't really tell that much. And Digital Foundry actually did a great article on it. One of the guys there, he's like, I prefer to play it on fidelity at the 4K 30 with more details because of the motion blur and the texture smoothing. And he's like, it looks and plays so well that even I was like, man, I couldn't tell that big of a jump from 30 to 60 on this game versus when on Forza Horizon 4, I definitely felt like the jump from 30 to 60 was like huge. But this one, I'm like, maybe I could play this at 30 FPS and enjoy the more details. But again, I just want to reiterate, I haven't done a single race and have played like 15, 20 hours and I've loved every second of it. I think that should say something just about the game in general. It's an exploration game. It's an RPG. It's an objective game. There's so much to do in it. You don't even have to race anything. And I've almost unlocked all of the events, all of the main events. And I, again, have not done a single race, only the required things where you're not even really racing. It's just like get from here to there and go with your friend. And as he explains stuff like, so shout out to Forza Horizon. Also been playing Burial at Sea. Also really enjoying it. Like I'm almost at the end of episode 1, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I've mentioned I love being back in Rapture. I feel like the DLC is harder than the base game, or maybe that's just BioShock in general. Like being down in Rapture just feels a lot more difficult. I'm playing on normal versus hard, and I've died way more on normal than I did on hard in Columbia. And the last one, boys, I forgot to tell you, I've been playing this as well the past couple of weeks, and I forgot to mention it. Back for Blood. A really fun time, you guys. Highly recommend it. Co-op. It's been me, Nico, Pack Attack, and Miggy, and we are in about halfway through Act 2, and there's 4 acts, and we played a lot, and it's a long campaign, and we're playing on easy and getting our butts kicked. Like I can't imagine people beating this on normal. You have to like really be committed because there's like a card system that gives you certain perks as you go through the game or for like that round, and they build as you go by level. You only get one continue. And we've failed a few times and had to restart runs, and it's just fun. You know, there's something about the zombie horde. Like, am I ever going to play this again once we beat it? No, but for being on Game Pass and completely free, it's been a lot of fun so far. And I've looked at the achievements, like it's really difficult. Only I think 13% of people who played it got through the first act on Recruit, which is the like easy difficulty. So the difficulty is there for sure, but I recommend it, you guys, especially on Game Pass. Get some friends. You could try it solo, but I don't know. I think it might be a little difficult. I don't know how the AI is, but highly recommend Back for Blood as well. Bubble Boy, tell me your thoughts. What have you been playing? I'm assuming it's Forza all the time.
Yeah, you know.
Tell me your thoughts on the game.
Incredible, phenomenal, deserving of all 10 out of 10 points that it got on IGN and all the other reviews. One of the first things that I thought of, Chapeau, that I wanted to point out, and you kind of segued for it perfectly for me, is you were like, oh, I couldn't start. I didn't want to get into it yet. What's one of the things that I think Daniel didn't mention was how you could play for 5 minutes. You could play for 5 hours. You could probably play for 5 days straight and like do anything that you wanted. And there's so much option. There's so much variety. On that same podcast, Unlocked, I think it was Ryan McCaffrey he kind of cut Destin Legary off, and he's like, hold on. I'm almost offended when you call it a racing game. It's a driving game. And he's like, I almost want to call it, and pardon the pun, but just a playground game. He's like, and I know that's cheesy because it's made by Playground Games, but he's like, just the amount of things you can do and the amount of fun you have and the way you can switch from, you could go down and do this and you could go over and do that. And then Destin comes in and he's like, oh, and it's going to have staying power because it's got Battle Royale, baby. And it does, and the Battle Royale is actually pretty fun. Like, I will keep playing it so that I can get the stupid achievement for it. And I came in 3rd last night one time, and I was like, but that I think it's amazing that they even considered it. I'm sure it was a joke when they put it in Horizon 4 that someone was just like, well, come on, guys, Battle Royale. And they're like, ha, ha, ha. And the guy's like, well, no, but we could. And they did. And they did it really, really well. I don't know, Daniel, it sounds like you haven't, but when you start to do some of those arcade ones and there's like the bowling pins and stuff, it's so cool. I'm playing on the graphical fidelity mode just because I know they put so much time and effort into making it what I can probably say is the most gorgeous game I've ever seen. And I was playing with that same car. Well, what's it called? The one that's like the purple and black one?
The Apollo Intensa Forenzi or something. It sounds like intense emotions or something.
God, that thing looks gorgeous. The way it changes kind of from a black to a purple, it's unbeatable. It's just so fun. And I don't know what else good things to say. There's two other dudes at work that both have Game Pass, and both of them were like, "Yeah, we just don't like racing games." And I was like, just like ready to strangle them. I was like, "Please, please, for the love of God, just try downloading it." And I promise you, you will, if you give it more than just 2 hours and throw it down, like you will find something that you enjoy. I spent probably an hour and a half, 2 or 3 nights ago, with no intention of doing so. I had like literally just looked over at Cora and Ashley and be like, okay, I'll meet you guys there. And then I was like, ooh, but I want to make this N7 sticker. And ooh boy, and that thing is making me about 1,000,000 credits a day. Literally, like each time I log in, I'm getting thousands of downloads every single day. I showed you guys that first picture, and it's every day. And the number of likes and stuff that I'm getting, it's a simple black car with, and you can look at D Wally's thing in the background, a white stripe with a red stripe in the middle. And then what took forever was me making the actual N7 that went on it. And I was on my big old OLED, like this far from the TV, making sure I had it lined up exactly. And clearly people are loving it. Like, so that's
awesome.
Right? Like, okay, so now it's like a Photoshop game almost.
Yeah.
And I just can't say enough good things. And I am so excited that it is finally happening. The other thing, and I hate to just keep pulling off of their show, but the other thing that Ryan McCaffrey said that I just thought was so poignant was how he was like, this is the trajectory of Xbox happening in front of us too right now. Like, it's finally getting the credit and it's finally getting the recognition that it deserves. And what a perfect time for this game to release, and what a perfect game to release at this time. So,
couldn't agree more. And we're going to pull more from Ryan McCaffrey for sure in our other news. So shout out to Ryan and everyone at IGN. And Chance, I really liked what you said. You're absolutely right. You can play this game for 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days. And it's so true. Like literally there'll be times where I'm like, oh, just one more thing. And then I'm played for another 2 hours. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go to bed, or I'm going to do this really quick. You've done 5 things. It's
always giving.
Exactly. And it's always fun. It's not like nagging either. Like even the drift zones, which I'm not a big fan of, I can still do them. And it's still like, okay, if I don't want to do this anymore, I can go do something else. And it's fun. And I like how you said, or Ryan or whoever said, like a playground game. It is. And there is something for everyone in this game. You're so right. And I'm an example of it from what I've done, what you're doing, your creation. I wish I had the patience to do that. That's so funny. You mentioned how you were up on the screen, like making sure it was okay. That reminds me, I was telling Jose when I made our XRT logo, I literally was like pulling out a ruler and measuring on my monitor to make sure it's like perfect. And it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it.
You need to learn Photoshop. Both of you need to actually learn Photoshop.
Yes, exactly. I didn't have Photoshop. I'm using Microsoft Paint over here. Okay. We're a small beginnings. Okay. And again, just shout out to Forza Horizon. Such a fantastic game. If anybody's listening that has not played it, please, please, please go play it. I'm a little disappointed with some of the F-boys nagging on it, saying what do I want to play? Dude, go play the game, man. I hate that.
All I think it is like, literally they haven't, is what it is. And I think anyone who isn't into racing games and tried Motorsport, back when that released on Game Pass, was probably like, oh yeah, no, just and they're not recognizing these are two completely different games. The other thing I think that none of us did mention that I just absolutely love, and I wish more games would find a way to do it creatively within their own world and environment, is the Drivatar thing. I got cut off by J-Biz today, and the next time I see him, I'm cussing him out. And he had nothing to do with it, but it was his Drivatar that I'm just driving, right? Like he comes flying out of left field. And it's amazing. It makes me feel like I'm playing with my friends even when I'm not.
Yeah. Just the whole multiplayer aspect of it in general is so cool. When you're just driving around the road, you'll see someone fly by doing something, or they'll come up to you and you'll start honking at each other. It's so well done and like effortless and fluid. Again, playground games, amazing. Can't wait to see what they do with Fable. Can't wait to see how they're going to top this with the next Forza Horizon. I'm sure the locale will have something to do with it. Maybe they'll finally give us Japan. Like that's probably the only way, realistically. Like how are they going to top it? But
well, and you think about when it comes to cars, like the different places they've gone too, and they were in England last time, and they've already done the European stuff with France and two. It like Japan does make a lot of sense, I think, but
Yeah,
that's what we've said about Assassin's Creed games too. So
Ooh.
zinger.
Moving on, let's jump in to Xbox news, you guys, and Chance, I'm going to throw this one right back to you because you sent this to us for some reason. I don't even know why. You're excited.
Because it looks like a great game.
Here, hold on. Welcome to the vast alien world in the Gunk. Encounter terrifying enemies and challenging puzzles on your quest to unravel the mystery of a forgotten planet. Can you save it in the process? Coming to Xbox and Game Pass December 16th. This is the Gunk. Bubble Boy, please tell me why you are so excited for the Gunk.
I mean, it probably was a timing thing that literally we're getting texts from the F boys being like, name one game that Xbox has given us. I was like, I can't name one. I can name like the 600 that they've literally given us on Game Pass. And that's that just like hater mentality that I was like, you clearly just don't even have any idea what you're talking about, because they have straight given us, like, think of all the AAA titles that they've given us now, including Forza Horizon 5. This one looked like another one of those ones that I can almost guarantee I probably would have missed, but when I just look at the screenshots and I hear that thing that you said, I'm like, that looks like a game that I'll be playing, and it looks fun. And it's kind of, I know it's not going to be much like Psychonauts, but it kind of gives me that vibe a little bit. Just with the art style, and again, it was like it's something totally new, totally different that I don't have to pay a dime for, and I'm just, why not be excited, right?
Game Pass is giving us plenty of content, too much, I would actually argue, which is a good and a bad thing. Jose, actually, I'll just go really quick. Of course, I will try this, Chance, because why wouldn't I? It's free on Game Pass. And it does look like a unique experience, which we always argue we're fans of something new. But to me, it's almost like, you know what? I was looking at Game Pass today or on my PC, and I saw Record. You remember Record, Chance? I don't understand why that game was so hated on. I actually really enjoyed the combat in that, and it kind of gave me, I don't know, for some reason, a flashback to Record for some reason. Let's hope it's better. But shout out to Record, guys. Another game I think you should try if you haven't played it. Jose, do you have any interest in the Gunk?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, any game that touts itself as a platformer that incorporates puzzles, that's a big draw for me. I like puzzles in games like that. Admittedly, like, it looks a lot like Splatoon. I get Splatoon vibes from it, where you're kind of like paint wars and stuff. It may be totally different. That just might be because of the spraying of the liquid and stuff. So I don't know, and I didn't get a chance to watch the trailer yet. I apologize for that piece of it, but I mean, yeah. Again, I'm sure it's built on the right engine for the Series X, which I'm sure it means it will look beautiful and play really nicely. Hopefully, it's got a compelling story. I also respect, and we talked about this before too, I respect that it doesn't sound like it's a big open world game. It sounds like it's a pretty linear story. There's a start, there's a finish, there's a correct path, which in the time of Forza, Battlefield, Halo, because this is coming out a week after Halo, remember that too, I respect that it's pretty straightforward. So I'll definitely check it out. I don't know yet whether I really like it or not, but I think I like the premise of it. I like that it's unique for sure.
Thank you, Jose. Can you turn off that dryer in the background? Next story number 2. This is coming from Video Games Chronicle. Chris Scullions reports a new 1 versus 100 game is definitely in development at Microsoft. It's been claimed. That's according to journalist Jeff Grubb, who claimed on his Giant Bomb show that the game is currently in active development at AltSpace VR, which is part of Microsoft's mixed reality division. The original 1 versus 100 was an online show that ran weekly on Xbox 360 in 2009. One player placed as the one against a group of 100 others that made up the mob, with the rest making up the crowd. The one had the opportunity to win 10,000 Microsoft points, while the remaining members of the mob split the winnings and each received a free game if they were able to defeat them. Did you any of you guys play this on the 360s? Yeah, you might have gotten this after.
I thought it was a game show.
It is like
on
it is like a
NBC.
game show. It is. All I know, again, McCaffrey keeps coming up. Huge fan of this. I remember he's been arguing for this to come back I swear he mentions this game every time on the podcast. And other people who are big into Xbox loved it. Jose, have you played this? Heard of this? Did you read up any more about it? Did you look it up? What did you think about this concept overall? I mean, I'm excited to see what this. I would love to win. That was basically $10 is what it looks like. Heck yeah, that'd be awesome if we could do this and play against other people. I think the concept is cool, but I think I need to look up and do some more research and see it on YouTube or something because I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, I mean, the concept I think is really cool. And I especially love that it has a tangible outcome, right? So, like, if you're willing to kind of throw yourself in the lion's den, that you have the chance to, like, win legitimate awards and rewards. The one concern I guess I have, and again, to be fair, I never played it. I don't know a lot about it. And I'm sure as part of this redevelopment or development, whatever you want to call it, they're considering is people that would troll it. You know what I mean? Like, that's always the concern is, like, people are going to exploit every possible weakness just to make you miserable. And I hate that. You know what I mean? Like, I love it if it's a purely fair and, like, level playing field. And I know it inherently isn't, because when you're going 1 versus 100, obviously they're going to choose people that have unique skill sets to make the greatest challenge. But I do like the idea that it's kind of like the idea of the asymmetrical games, right? It's like the Friday the 13th thing, right? It's, you know, it is fun to play as a team against one kind of super being, and most of the time you're going to lose to the super being, but every once in a while you pull it out. You know what I mean? So, cool. I hope it goes well. You know, will I play it? Maybe. I don't know. I want to see more about it, what it looks like, but excited to see some new stuff like that.
So, Bubble Boy, you really don't know about this at all.
No, I thought it was like an NBC game show.
All right, moving on to the next news item here. And this is kind of a big one. And we've talked about some rumored games, but this is coming from our old boy, Jez Corden, always breaking those leaks, the stepfather of Xbox. New upcoming Xbox exclusives revealed. Project Midnight from Compulsion and Pentiment from Obsidian. So recently, we received some details on Compulsion's first outing as part of Xbox Game Studios. Currently codenamed Midnight, this upcoming title is supposedly a third-person action game set in a dark, fantastical world. Some of the game's early concept work is seen in the article, and they represent the game's protagonists alongside warped harpy-like humanoids that appear to descend through various iterations of mutation. On the left, we can see what appears to be a harpy nest-style dwellings built atop a tree. Midnight is described as a coming-of-age tale drawing upon inspirations from America's Deep South. The game features magic and large fantastical beasts with a strong Southern Gothic vibe. The game is a wholly single-player experience with what has been described to me as a strong story. And then Obsidian is working on Pentiment. And Jeff Grubb mentioned that Pentiment takes cues from the likes of Disco Elysium and the branching narrative designs Josh Sawyer is known for. You'll be able to investigate and make accusations against the characters in-game, which could lead to a cascading consequences if you're wrong. It'll be dialogue-heavy game with decisions to make and response options to choose from, which will shape your experience as you unwrap the murder conspiracy before you. So, Chance, I want to go to you first on this one. Have you played Disco Elysium? And
no, and I want to very badly. Oh. Sorry.
So yeah, I've heard really good things, and I didn't know that it's mostly like dialogue driven. Like basically, there's like no kind of real, I guess, gameplay besides like selecting options, and it's very like story based. And I was listening to Cog, shout out to Cog, Cognito, and Defining Duke. He was saying that he is obsessed with it. Like he just started playing it before Forza. Well, now I see him playing Forza a bunch. He was saying how like the voice acting is blown away, and he's like, I think this is the best voice acting I've ever heard in a game. So I've heard lots of good things about Disco Elysium. I'm pretty sure it's from like a Russian team or something like that. I don't know. They're like communist or something. Maybe I'm confusing it for another one. But I did want to say quickly, I like the Southern Gothic vibe and the Deep South coming from Compulsion in their game. Another one, Chance, I don't know if you played, and I'm guessing no. Did you play We Happy Few? I know that was always like an early Game Pass. Like game trial kind of game that I heard like started strong, but then like the actual gameplay and loop was really weak, and it kind of a lot of people it fell off for them. So another one I've been wanting to try. Like I remember that trailer when that was back in probably like E3 2015 was insane, where like they take the pills and like the setting was so super cool and like a drug filled England or whatever, or I'm pretty sure it was, and they're just like it was kind of like Austin Powers meets I don't know something. What's that movie with Tom Cruise and it's weird and
Vanilla Sky. Yeah.
not Vanilla Sky. No. The one
nice
where
one,
his
Chappelle.
wife like his wife wants to like take him to like sex parties and stuff. Oh, God.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut meets
Nicole
like Austin,
Kidman.
like weird like that. So again, I'm excited for what Compulsion brings because I do remember hearing that like the beginning of that was very strong in the setting and the uniqueness. I like the Southern Gothic and having a game take place down there because Shoutout, Mafia 3, that whole setting I really liked. So Bubble Boy, what are your thoughts on these potential games? And tell me what you were thinking about Disco Elysium as well.
Yeah, the concept art for that one looks awesome. I was really impressed, and I think it's intriguing enough to make me like, oh yeah, I'll be excited for this. And then anything that says Obsidian on it, I think I'm probably gonna jump to
small team, like 12 people though. So this is a small, like not.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like I mean, some of the best games come from small teams, and it doesn't have to be a huge AAA title to catch my fancy. I will say too, it was ACG was the other one that absolutely raves about Disco Elysium, and I just tried looking it up again, and I don't see an announced release date.
It's coming to Xbox.
Yeah, but
Isn't
don't.
it already on Xbox?
Well, because it says October 12th, and then I see another one that says the
Dude, I think
Switch
it's
was
already out on
October
Xbox.
12th,
I'm
and
pretty
then
sure.
November 9th. Well, I got to look it up on my phone now
Yeah,
because that's a game
Okay.
I would probably go buy right now.
I'm pretty sure it's out. Jose, what did you think of these potential game announcement rumors?
I really like the one for Midnight. Female protagonist. The concept art looks super cool. I like the setting of the Deep South. I like the magical element. I feel like that's got some really cool vibes written all over it. As for the Pentiment one, I'll be honest. Like I do like the idea of the start. I totally respect, I respect the art and I love the studio. The issue for me is the dialogue heavy stuff. It's kind of like Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain was a cool game. I'm not knocking it, but man, after like the second or third act where like it's just literally dialogue, I was getting like, I don't like this, man. This was a waste of my time. And it's not a waste of time. That's the wrong verb. It's fun, and some people truly that's the style they love. They love the narrative element. Great, man. Totally enjoy it. It's just not what I would probably play. So probably yes to Midnight, probably no to Pentiment for me.
And Jose, you're absolutely right. Sometimes games can have way too much dialogue. For instance, I like Yakuza. I think it's a great story, but my gosh, you guys, I'm in Yakuza 0, and I think like if you just rush through everything, that's like a 40 or 50 hour game, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this. There were times, and it's only dubbed. It's not even dubbed. It's all subtitles because it's just straight up Japanese, and so I'm reading everything as well. And it's great. Like it's a cool story, and the graphics are phenomenal. And it's good acting, but man, it can be a drag when I'm just reading and watching stuff. So I completely feel you on that one. So looking forward to both of these. Well, I'll be honest, I'm probably not going to play the Penitence one, but I'm looking forward to Compulsion. We'll go to Bubble Boy to report back on that one and Disco Elysium because yeah, I've heard great things about it and I'm very excited to hear.
I completely missed the release with all the other stuff going on.
I'm surprised you didn't buy it. Yeah,
I will be buying.
Too many
it.
games.
It is. It's
too many games. Guys, did you have a chance to check out the Halo tech beta or tech preview outcomes? Did you read that by any chance, Jose?
No.
Okay.
No, because I watched that Starfield thing, the interview.
Okay,
with,
well then let's
Bethesda
just go to that. We'll go over the tech preview next week because I want you to read it because I want to have. You know what? We don't need to talk about it. Let's just scratch that. Let's go into our final story this week. for those of you interested in Halo, definitely go check out what some of the things they're going to change. You know what? I changed my mind. We might cover that next week because I do feel like it's important. Last story this week. Let's just get to it. The Todd Howard interview with our boy Ryan McCaffrey, just killing it out there. He did an interview with Todd Howard from Bethesda, and I highly recommend everyone go watch it. It's his IGN Unfiltered interview. And I just wanted to get your overall thoughts, and I'm hoping that you all watched it. But he talks about what they learned from like Skyrim, Fallout 76, Starfield, just working from home, just everything, Bethesda. And I love hearing Todd Howard talks because he seems like a really smart guy. He may be really good at lying as well and leading us on, but he's just, I definitely think he's passionate about the games. I loved how he mentioned how excited he was about Indiana Jones. He's like a huge Indiana Jones fan. I don't know if you guys heard that, how he pitched it back like 10 years ago or something like that, and they were close to getting a game, but it didn't happen. But then recently they went back and got it, and he's executive producer on that, but he's not like every day to day there. He's kind of in the background, like once a month, once a week. But I'm very excited with Indiana Jones for what I'm hearing from Starfield. Who wants to go first? What did you think of the interview, actually, Jose? What did you think of did you watch it? Please tell me you watched it. I thought it was
I did
fantastic.
really watch it. I mean, and it's long, guys. Like it's over half an hour, so it's a chunk of time to dedicate, but totally worth it. First off, just worth saying, his background in it is freaking sweet. And you think it's a digital background? It's not. It's actually like a new room in their studio at Bethesda, and it's like in the style of Skyrim. It's freaking sweet. Like that would be an awesome backdrop.
This is just a giant like dragon and like just
it's like a stone sculpture basically behind him. Yep. Super cool. No, man, it was a cool interview. You know what I really liked from it and what took away from it was that it starts off with him talking about, he goes like, do you realize it's been 10 years since Skyrim came out? And he was like, of course I know that it's been 10 years. And in some degrees, it's pretty incredible that people are still buying it. And even though it's kind of like a running joke / meme online, there are people still buying it, like Diwali, who genuinely are super pumped for another playthrough, whether it's because they're choosing another class or a different run or whatever.
And McCaffrey said there were like 30 million players, that he saw like a number online, and I Googled it too, and that's what came. He's like, it's actually considerably more than that. So I'm wondering like if this is like a 50 million game. I don't know. That's a lot, maybe like 40 or something, but very cool. Continue, Jose. Sorry.
Yeah, but he just said it's incredible that 10 years later this game is that relevant, that people are still loving it. And at that point, McCaffrey brought up, he goes, yeah, but think about Oblivion, think about Morrowind. There's still players there too. That's a way even longer. And so that was a huge testament to their hard work, right? And how much it's clear that their efforts and their love for the series and the genre are felt in the game. And then he starts obviously talking about like, well, what about Fallout? What about Starfield? He's talked about how he's incredibly proud of Starfield. And it sounds like, which is awesome, I'm not complaining by any means, it sounds like Starfield is going to be very similar to Skyrim and Fallout, just in this space setting, which is super rad. It offers itself its own content. Obviously, there's like the planetary aspect of it. And so he was really pumped about that. And he mentioned there were some cool little like Easter eggs. He talks about how he hates mini-maps in games. Like that's one of his huge pet peeves. That's why Skyrim uses like the compass system at the top of the screen.
I like it.
Which is really cool.
And on that quote, really close it, he said, I liked what he said, though, about how it's Skyrim in space. He said, it's the best parts of Skyrim and Fallout in Starfield and there. And so I appreciated that. And he also mentioned, I want to say, he said, if we don't do this now, when are we ever going to do it? Because Ryan was like, it's been how many years since 10 years since Skyrim, and how many years since the traditional Fallout game. And he's like, yeah, ideally, I wish we could do these. But he's like, we could have gone into the same rotation, Fallout, Skyrim, the sequel. But he's like, we wanted to try something new. We had this concept, right? I guess it was right after Fallout 4. He's like, if we don't do this now, we're never going to do this. So I appreciate them kind of stepping out and doing an IP. So sorry, go ahead. So you were saying about...
that's actually what I was going to say too, is that he talked about that cycle, that was kind of originally the plan, that they were just going to go Fallout Skyrim, and that was fine, but they had this other idea. Obviously they also had like the Indiana Jones and I'm sure a couple others in the works we may not know about, but he talked about how we're really getting to do everything we want now, and we get to really just love it. And he goes like, literally like every day at work is awesome because we're just building these experiences. And what he didn't say this directly, but I think what he kind of was like hinting at was that because they are so successful, and they are, and Bethesda is wildly successful, all of their franchises, right? They don't feel like they're on a timeline. Like, yes, they're on the timeline in the sense that fans want new games. We all want new games all the time, but we're also not like so mad that we're just like, oh God, I guess I have to go play Skyrim again. We're like, okay, cool, another run in Skyrim, you know? The one thing that I was a little teaser for me that I got super excited about was like, I like Fallout 76. It's a cool idea. I like the online thing, but to me, it's not the same thing as a Fallout game. And he did mention that they do already have a one-pager for Fallout 5, so it is tentatively in the works. Now, how quickly? Probably not for a while, because they asked about Elder Scrolls 6 specifically, and he said we're at least a couple of years out from Elder Scrolls 6, which means Fallout is probably after that, which means we're probably talking 5-6 years for Fallout 5, which again is fine, man. Like, again, I'll be pumped to play Starfield when it comes out next year. I'll definitely love to see what they do with Elder Scrolls 6 and that kind of stuff. So I'm not super worried about it, but I don't want to just go over the whole interview piece by piece.
Yeah.
I would just say it's really cool, man. It's just clearly like they're very passionate about what they do. They love their partnership with Xbox. I think that's going to pay huge dividends down the road. And here's the thing, like this didn't really come up in the interview. The partnership with Microsoft is still in this weird phase where Bethesda is still making games for all systems, right? I'll be very curious what happens after Starfield, because Starfield is Xbox exclusive, whether they'll really do that with the other ones. I'm just curious, man.
It's over, dude. You're not going to see Starfield on another unless it's on Game Pass. It's not.
Yeah, but what about
on
Elder Scrolls 6 and
dude,
and
lock
Fallout?
it in.
You think they don't do
Sorry, guys, you have to play it on Xbox or PC. It's over. Move on. It's over, Jose. I understand. Yeah, they're releasing this anniversary. That's because this game already existed on it. Just because the IP existed on PlayStation doesn't mean the next iteration of that game is coming out. It's locked in. You can take it to the bank. And you know how I know that? I'm seeing a lot of pictures of people being like, I got a Series S just to play Forza next to their PS5. They are selling consoles or Game Pass subscriptions, more importantly,
with these games,
for people with these games. You need that content. They didn't pay all this money not to keep it. And people will play it. And PC is growing. PC might be the only thing in the future for all we know. Like, consoles might just morph into having some sort of platform on
PCs,
exactly. I mean, they are glorified PCs right now. I'm looking at my Series X right here. By the way, my setup, you guys, I love having this box out right here. It's like this amazing monolith, right? It's incredible. My setup is so clean. Shout out. You can check it out. I gotta post that. But anyway, dude, lock it in, Jose. It's not coming, and people are going to buy Xboxes or Game Pass subscription. Are like, oh, well, I'll just play it on my PC. Great. Microsoft is getting your money regardless. So have fun playing it on that 3080 Ti on your Windows PC that you paid thousands of dollars for. Go ahead, Chance. Let's hear what your thoughts in the interview.
And I think that one of the things that makes you so hesitant to think that will happen, Jose, is just because like it hasn't, right? And of course Xbox has some exclusives that we all know and love, like Gears and Halo and stuff, but that's more of PlayStation's thing, right? To be like, this is my ball and I'm taking it home when I'm done, right? And like, as Xbox fans, we're just not used to that. But I think D-Wally nailed it when he's like, you don't pay the kind of money you paid to get that studio and not make it like, this is our thing.
Our IP, not even studios. This is our intellectual property and franchises. You can come over and play it if you want. Or, hey, PlayStation, you want this on your console? You can have Game Pass. Knock yourself out. So
a true friend. You could come over and play it.
Exactly. Well, I'm just, at my house. I'm just so tired of like, oh, Xbox doesn't have games. Look at 2020. Look at even just the past couple of years. We have had an insane amount of games, and I'm
for sure.
I know the narrative is going to be one finally with Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War come. Oh, look what PlayStation is doing. It's like they just forget about the first year where there was Ratchet and Clank. Like, let's be real. Like, there hasn't been much. But anyway, I'm going to have a PS5 eventually too down the road, but it will just be to play an occasional exclusive where Xbox is going to be my main. Bubble Boy, I had a really good thought and I just forgot it. Bubble Boy, any other thoughts on this interview?
Yeah. So, and I've only watched pieces. I have it down. I have the podcast downloaded to listen on the way to work tomorrow. But
definitely worth it.
What I took from it that you guys hopefully will appreciate is that dude reminds me a lot of Peyton Manning. In that, like, just no, hear me out. Like, When it came to football, that dude does not half-ass a thing. He's first one in, last one out. He does his homework. It is like everything is precision down to the millisecond, and it shows. And he's willing to wait when he needs to wait, hurry when he needs to hurry in Omaha, right? Like there was such a striking similarity to me in those two men, and we get to benefit from both.
No, I could see the Peyton Manning analogy. Maybe not like the most flashy or Mahomes kind of guy, but he gets done, and he's going to beat you up here mentally. So I like that. So shout out to Todd Howard. Shout out to the IP that Microsoft owned IP. Thank you very much, Jose. And no, it's not coming to PlayStation, Jose. I'm sorry. Starfield is going to be the beginning of it, and people are going to be so mad when like, why isn't Skyrim or Elder Scrolls coming and put it on PlayStation? Like, I've seen tweets, why isn't Forza Horizon on PlayStation? Like, why isn't God of War on Xbox? Why isn't Spider-Man on Xbox?
Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, where is Final Fantasy VII, which was announced as a multi-platform game with a year exclusivity? Who knows? But whatever. Anyway, moving on. I did want to quickly ask here, and maybe before we get into the good old days, and I was just wondering and thinking about this myself. I know, Chance, you were a huge PlayStation. All of us were. We all had deep ties to PlayStation growing up. What is there a world where you see yourself switching back to PlayStation being your main console of choice and like playing everything on that, and then having Xbox as your side exclusive machine, or are you comfortable staying with Xbox as your main and getting your PlayStation in a couple of years to play the exclusive? Like, what would it take for you to switch back, Chance? I'm really curious, Bubble Boy. Tell me what you're thinking.
It's such a hard question to answer, and I'm never gonna. It's like never say never, right? Because some wild things could happen, and I don't know. Like Microsoft could have some horrible PR fiasco, and the whole thing just dies. So I don't want to be like, well, Bubble Boy, you said you'd never go back, but like I don't. And that's where I go back to the F boys. Like you cannot argue that a PS5 is more valuable than an Xbox right now. You cannot do it. So there's Ratchet and Clank, and was it Returnal?
Spider-Man,
I think, was the other thing. And
all PS4, it doesn't count. That's
the Miles Morales one.
That's not a PS5 exclusive.
Yeah,
but even then, a lot of these are cross-gen.
You could put 20 others on there, and I actually started talking to a kid about this today, and I usually let them take the lead, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, yeah. But he was like, well, yeah, but my PlayStation Plus is like the exact same as Game Pass, and I was just like, no, it's not. Yeah, and I was like, no. I was like, do you know what Game Pass is? And he's like, well, yeah, you get like a couple free every month. I was like, no, that's Xbox Live, and that's games or Gold, and you get games. And it was just one of those like, I felt like I was talking to the F boys, who this kid probably literally didn't know any different because he's not an adult with his own money that he can do that. But I'm just like, why would I? What is the draw? I will do what you do, which is hopefully find a PS5 on the cheap, play a couple of games that I feel like I need to play, do it in complete isolation, and immediately resell it, because there is just no reason to keep it.
And the Xbox controller, it's the GOAT. Sorry, it's the GOAT. I don't care how good the DualSense is. It can't be better than.
No, and think about the one we're about to get less than a week from today.
I canceled my Halo one. I shouldn't have done that. I was going all in. I canceled it at GameStop because I thought I was going to get that. Yeah, I thought I was going to get the console
Betrayed.
That day. It's a betrayal. You got to get that fixed.
You got
to get
right.
that fixed. So I was like, betrayal. Fix that on your soundboard. It's not betrayed. Yeah, so I thought I had it in my, like I said, I had it in my cart at GameStop, and I was like, oh, screw the controller, I already have an Elite, I want this console, and then sure enough, it got canceled. So that's on me. I also am considering getting one of those scuffs. I'd rather spend the $200 on something with a different back buttons. But Jose, is there anything that would make you want to switch back off of your main as Xbox and PlayStation being your secondary console / exclusive machine?
Right now, no. I mean, a lot of what Chance said. I cannot imagine a time right now. I can't imagine going to have to buy every game. That's really what it comes down to. And it's not. it's not a function of being cheap. Like, it is a little bit. That's just like the dad in me and you know, the growing up trying to be frugal with money and stuff. But the fact that, like, yeah, I pay $15 a month, but I don't even feel it because it's built into my budget at this point. And literally, like, Visage was a great example. Like, I was really pumped for it. I was so excited. I played a couple hours. I was like, this is lame. If I had paid full price, even if I had paid like a partial price on a discount, I would have been like bummed because now I got to go back to the store. I got to resell it. I'm going to get only a fraction of the cost. And then I got to find something else. Like, the fact that I can just drop it, get it off my hard drive, get something new is incredible. Now, here's the other part. I mean, I know there's the haters out there, and I know you mentioned the F boys. Some of them do play Xbox too, to be fair. But here's the other part. It goes back to I think it was like the second or third episode we ever did together. We talked about why is PlayStation so popular, and the answer was the Xbox One, right? Because the Xbox One was so fraught with issues, it caused so many people to move over to PlayStation, and PlayStation 4 was a smashing success by comparison. You know, I'm curious to see if through the next couple of years, this is what we see with Xbox Series X, right? And the Series S, because a lot of it is Game Pass, to be fair, but also the hardware. There's really no issues that we've had so far. I mean, unless something comes out of left field that we're not expecting, these are going to...
We gonna get diced in a couple of weeks.
But that's not a hardware issue. That's not the actual box itself.
I know.
I'm just saying, like, and that's also cross-platform. You can play Battlefield on PlayStation.
Party, exactly.
You know, I'm just curious to see what will happen a generation from now. And it's, you know, is my loyalty with Xbox right now? Absolutely, right? But it's not that I hate PlayStation. It's just that realistically, I'm not going to buy both at launch. That seems unwise, right? And also very hard to do right now. But I'm so happy over here in Xbox land. You could tell me whatever you want. You can say the controller's better. You can say the network's better. PlayStation Plus is better. They have the history. That's just done. Okay, cool, man. Great for you. I'm going to be over here with my friends in Xbox land, and we're going to have a great time. So, no, for the foreseeable future, no, I can't imagine going back to PlayStation as my main.
Yeah, it reminds me of the what was back in the day when there was Blu-ray and was it HD DVD?
Yeah, HD DVD.
And all the people that invested heavily in HD DVD, it's like if there's still some guy out there, I only watch HD DVDs, right? Like, come on, buddy. Like, you don't have to keep tooting.
He's still out there.
Like, it's
but even now, it's like streaming now, which is even more crazy. But I agree. I guess what just annoys me is like, who cares? Like, just let us have our fun. Like, objectively, you can't look at what Xbox is giving us value and content wise and say, oh, there's nothing. Like, when Corey wrote that, and I thought he was kidding, like, the Xbox hasn't given us caca. I was like, are you out of your mind? Like,
they had to have been trolling a little.
But
they
why?
are. There's no way.
I don't get it. And
just because they know this is what it's doing to us, probably.
It's probably because they didn't get any likes from Freddie Prince Jr.
I own a PS4.
Or that.
I own a PS4 Pro.
Or
I've
that.
played some of their exclusives. Like, I just don't get how you can argue. It's not like I don't have every console. But anyway, I did want to. I remember what I wanted to bring up, Jose. We were talking about PlayStation and how, or are these games coming to PlayStation or not with Bethesda and all that? And I said no. Another thing I wanted to point out, Jose, is that PlayStation games are coming to PC now. Like, even PlayStation is like, we need to grow our audience. We need to make our games available to more. So we have PlayStation Computer, or whatever they call it. They just redid their naming or whatever, where it's like PlayStation Studios. I can't remember what it was, computer related or whatever. I guarantee they're going to release their games day and date on PC and PlayStation in the future. Maybe not as quickly as Xbox because Xbox needed to, but it's going to happen. And Xbox was ahead of the game day and date, saying we're going to release Halo and all of our IP from now on PC day and date. And that was a huge smart move. And I was listening to Sacred Symbols, and Colin Moriarty, Shoutout against Sacred Symbols, was saying, you know, Microsoft had to do that because they were desperate. And that's partially true. But I also think that it was incredibly smart thinking on their end as well, and just release their games on PC. What difference does it make if we're not selling an Xbox to someone? If they're buying it on that PC, which probably most likely has a Windows license associated with it, and they're still giving us that cut over there, what difference does it make where they sell the game? And also he said, and you mentioned this kind of, Jose, is I don't have to buy all the games. And he's like, Game Pass, for better or worse, is changing how people buy games. people are buying less games if they have Game Pass. And he's absolutely right. And I have no problem with that, because as long as that content keeps coming, and he stresses this as well, he's like, as long as that content keeps coming and Game Pass subscriptions continue to grow, that won't be a problem, because if you're selling less, you're not getting that cut, that you're getting like Apple gets from everything. But he's like, it is changing how people buy games. And he's right. I don't buy very many games. And there's a part of me saying like, yeah, I could go buy Guardians, but do I really want to? No. Could I wait for it to come on Game Pass? We are getting so many good things. Like, it comes down to time, and Game Pass has been amazing. I hope it stays forever. Love everything. Xbox has had a great first year, and I can't wait to see these next few years, because we're really going to start to see what these studios are bringing in. Like you said, Chance, and McCaffrey said, like, Forza, the trajectory of it is only going up from here, and I'm so excited. So shout out to Xbox and all the hard work and all that everyone's been doing over there. Guys, let's get into the good old days. Bubble Boy, why don't you explain to the audience what we're going to be talking about for our favorite segment?
Yeah, our the best cars in video games, brought to you, of course, by the excitement of Forza Horizon 5. And I like to think of it not just as a racing game, and so there are plenty of other games that aren't racing games that feature cars and driving and racing and stuff in them. And so I wanted to see what you all had for the best. I thought a little bit of, and I see Dan putting a finger up, because I'm sure he's like, what does the Normandy count? I'm sure that one's on there. And I did cheat a little, because one of mine isn't a car, but it's close, and I'll explain. But I'm hoping you all stuck to the top 5 cars.
Let me start.
Yeah, not vehicles.
Because when I read this again tonight, preparing for the show, I was like, top car. I can't even think of any. As usual, I couldn't think of any, Chance. So I'll go first.
Daniel, you do that with every topic.
Well, here we go.
Have, unless
it's
like name the best Popeyes menu item.
Okay, number 5, the Mako. I put this on here because it sucks, and you got to have it on there because it's terrible. Number 4, the Hammerhead in Mass Effect 2, a slight improvement, but you didn't really have to use it. As you can see, a theme. Number 3, the Nomad. An actual fun car to drive in Mass Effect Andromeda. They finally got it right in that game. That was actually a very good vehicle to drive, and fun to drive as well. Then I said Mad Max car.
Question mark?
Question. And then number 1 out of I have nothing else, the Batmobile, even though I really didn't like driving it, but it's a cool car in Arkham Knight. I didn't like the car parts. And actually, I think the most fun out of all of those was probably the Nomad was pretty fun, especially in that moon level, where you're floating across. But no, I remember the combat in Mad Max was kind of cool too. So, and then I said all the cars in Forza. I'm very excited to hear. Bubble Boy, I want you to end this, because I was like, I don't know what the heck this guy's talking.
Oh, you missed a big one. You're gonna be disgusted.
Yeah, absolutely. I know which one you're talking about too.
Okay.
And I'm sure Chipo has it on his list. So yeah, take it away, my friend.
So I had a little trouble first when I was first thinking about this, because historically, outside of Forza, I don't play a lot of racing games. And that's okay. That's not a bad thing or by any means, but just I was a little like, I need to think about it. And so I'm glad we sent out the question earlier this week, because I needed time to think about it over a couple of days. But my number 5 is the Toyota Supra from Gran Turismo, the original Gran Turismo. Just because, as a child, or as I should say, as a young adult, that was such an iconic car, because it was like you couldn't get it stateside, and like there was literally like one kid in Lakewood that had it. It was like a guy, it was a black one. I don't know if you remember it, but it was a super cool car.
I can remember Steve just going off about it. Yeah,
iconic, right? And obviously really cool that you could finally play it in Gran Turismo. So Toyota Supra was number 5 for me.
Jose, I got to interrupt. The Supra was totally available in the United States. Just hard to get.
Yeah,
it was the Nissan GTR. That's the one that was.
Oh, you're right. GTR.
Yeah.
And also, shout out Gran Turismo car, the 3000 GT Mitsubishi. Man, what a car!
Good old
I would drive
Vic.
that. Oh, Honda NSX as well.
Okay, your turn was gone, son. Sit down. Next up was Mario Kart, the actual kart. I just feel like that's a pretty iconic car. Like, is it cool? Not really, but we all spent a lot of time on Mario Kart. Mad respect there. I had to put it on the list. Number 3 was the Regalia from Final Fantasy 15. I really liked that car. I didn't love the driving parts of the game. Like, I'm not saying that's what I liked, but the car was really cool. It was like almost like a Rolls Royce concept car for the future, and
Also,
driving
Forza
around
Horizon 4. Did you know
And
that
it
was it?
Is it in Forza 4? I did not know that.
One of the four. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, I like the conversations with your boys in that. But the
Yeah,
actual
that's
car,
you know what it reminded me. It reminded me of the show Entourage. If you ever saw Entourage when they would drive around in that in the Lincoln, I can't think of it right now, but it reminded me of that. So I really like that. Number 2, the one that I cannot believe Dan did not put on his list, is the Halo Warthog. Cannot believe you didn't put that on your list. You're fired.
Oh,
Yep,
I'm an
that was
idiot.
the one
Number
I was
1,
thinking
obviously.
of.
Dang it,
That
I'm an
was
idiot.
the
Number
one.
1.
That was it, Chappelle. You nailed it.
My number 1 actually was the Batmobile from Arkham Knight. I really liked those sequences. I even liked some of the battles that were really hard, and you had to get like technically good with the Batmobile. I thought that was a fun car to play as in the video game. So that is my top 5 list. Bubble Boy, take us home there.
Really quickly, you're absolutely right, Bubble. I'm so embarrassed. Kick me out. Somebody boot me
You
from
should
the party.
be.
Warthog,
boot his ass.
easily number 1. I'm an idiot. Okay.
I'm floored that you didn't really put much effort into it, I think is all that is. I don't know. Okay, so starting number 5, the 2016 Jeep Trailcat from all the Forza Horizon series. I played out of that car.
You play the caca out of it?
The caca
Yes, okay,
out of
thank
that
you.
car. Sorry. Minute 99%, I think. That car is just so much fun. It's so versatile, and it's so much better in Mexico. A lot of the one in Forza Horizon 4, if you weren't on Fortune Island or the Lego thing, was not like all flat, but a lot more maybe some city racing. And that Trailcat just kills it. And like I said, I'm racking in about 1 million credits a day off my N7 design on it. So that's definitely top 5. Number 4, that is where I'm cheating a little bit, is Deacon's Drifter Bike from Days Gone. Yeah, I know. And don't laugh, because it is like a character in itself. It is a massive part of the game. You get to customize it, you get to change it. It's all the RPG elements in that game go along with the bike. It's just fun. That was a very iconic not car to me. Number 3 that I'm surprised Chapeau didn't have, Sweet Tooth's ice cream truck.
I thought
in
about
the
it.
Twisted Metal series, right? And that was just cool. And I don't think I can remember wanting to play as him often, but I always would suck with him. I was Axel more often than not. But when you think of Twisted Metal, you think
very
of Sweet
iconic,
Tooth and that
for
ice
sure.
cream truck. Yeah. And then my 1 and 2 exact same as Chapeau. Number 2, Halo's Warthog. Number 1, Arkham Knight Batmobile. I think the thing that Chapeau didn't mention about the Batmobile that I loved was when you would start going real fast and then you could eject from it and start
was very
flying
cool.
that way. Like, that was just so fun and so cool, and such a cool way. That was one of those games where I love it when a game like Horizon 5 or any of the Horizons can make it so that you don't want to fast travel, right? Like, there was fast travel, but I didn't want to. I wanted to floor it in that Batmobile and then fly throughout, hit the eject and fly out of it. So, Daniel, you're fired. You had a good run, 28 episodes. Is
I'm a
that how many you
founding
made it? Yeah.
member of XRT, the only member at one point. Thank you very
Bruce
much,
Wayne, we voted you off the island.
Bubble Boy, for that good old days. If you'd like to send us a top 5 list or a food list. Speaking of, I know you're listening. Mr. Felix Twista, I just ran into him again. Felix, you need to write in. Send me your top 5 list. He said he was going to do it, but he's been afraid to, or he's been hesitant to for some reason. I told him, you need to write in.
Well, does he have a studio quality mic?
Or he can be a guest on the show. Get him in here.
Pick him up.
Pick him up. Chappelle, where's your soundboard?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you need to get that, and it's betrayal. Okay, you need to correct that and keep the. I'm surprised it hasn't popped up in here multiple times.
You got mad at me before we started.
Well, because I
have
said
them
don't do
ready
it
to go.
all the time. You can do it occasionally, maybe like once a segment. Okay, that I think that's fair.
I will keep that in mind.
But we need to talk about what we want. That's what she said. You need to have that in there, but louder.
That's what she said.
Okay, and so. They've got to have that.
Of course he had that one. You knew he had
betrayal.
that one.
Okay, so anyway, moving on. If you'd like to send us any kind of topic, please send it to, what's that email, Jose?
XboxRecordThis@gmail.com.
For any kind of comments, questions, concerns, ideas, top fives, please send it in. Felix, you're on the clock. I'm disappointed. Did I mention this, what he said to me? I don't think I did. Or I sent it to the nerd group. Felix has a little bit of beef with our old boy, Jay Bizzle.
Yeah.
He was a little offended, Jay Biz, that you said you were the only one in the world who's listened to every episode. And he's like, that is not true. I've listened to every second. I'm a huge fan. And he's going to write in. So watch out, Jay Bizzle. XRT #1 fan, no longer Jay Biz. It's going to be Felix Tuesta. Shout out to Felix. Gentlemen, what has been the best food that you've had this week? Who would like to go first?
I'll go first because I just had it tonight. Got the, in honor of last week's show, I got the Sonic garlic butter bacon burger, which was fantastic, and I paired it. I'm moving away from the French fries. I paired it with something equally as healthy, the mocha fudge brownie something or other blast, and it was fantastic. And I just watched Ashley and Cora be jealous of me the entire time I was eating it.
Sounds fantastic. I'll go next, Jose. Add one to the Popeyes list. I stopped by Popeyes, Jose.
Copy.
Make sure add that to the list.
Wait, that's what you need for the soundboard.
Yes,
that
we
every
need
time he
some
does
sort-
it, I love
Yeah.
that chicken and Popeyes.
I couldn't
Yeah,
find it. I was
see?
looking for it before
There
the
we
show.
go.
I couldn't find
Okay,
it.
I'll be the
Okay.
soundboard, and I know Snelling wants more singing.
There we
So,
go.
do you
I
all
had,
say that
Popeyes
again?
this week, guys.
Love that chicken and Popeyes.
And I gotta say, this was the first time I was a little disappointed with my sandwich. Chicken was great. They gypped me on that spicy sauce. I'm very disappointed, but there was an excuse for it this time, guys. I went to the one on Colfax, the shady one. I pull up to the drive-thru and they're like, you got to go inside, no drive-thru. And I was like, oh, okay. Go inside. A woman orders $90 worth of chicken, right? I kid you not. Yep. Multiple buckets. And she ordered, I didn't know this. You can buy a chicken for Thanksgiving, a Cajun style whole frozen chicken to take home. And she bought one of those big bad boys. So I was there for like 10 minutes watching her get the order. Everyone's short-staffed. I don't understand. I'm sick of it. I'm getting tired of it. I felt bad for them because that was why they couldn't have the drive-thru running. And of course, this woman orders $90 worth of chicken in front of me. They give me my sandwich. Like I said, not enough spicy chicken. I wasn't satisfied for the first time. The chicken was good.
I don't understand in our COVID world how they would close the inside or the drive-thru and not the inside. I thought it was pretty standard protocol to close the inside and just do the drive-thru.
I guess people like to eat inside. Anyway, and then so I had Chipotle again. Again, this is the new standard. Steak burrito. Hey, can I get actually double steak? And then queso. I'll have corn salsa. Actually, I'll have extra corn. Green salsa, lettuce. Wrap that up in a burrito. Fantastic. Oh, actually, can I have a large side of corn salsa? Yes, sir. We can get you that. Oh, and just a small side of green. And then a kid's chips. That's the standard order right there. Trust me, queso steak.
I
But the
cannot
best,
believe you don't get rice and beans. That feels
it's
like
just
that's
a waste.
wrong.
I can get it on the side, but dude, rice has never been. I've never liked rice. It's just empty blah to me. Beans I used to like, but I just want that meat. I want those calories and protein in the meat. But the best food.
I just want that meat. Cut that and make that.
Who wants some man meat? I do, Michael. I want some man meat. Please find that, Jose. Find that clip of the barbecue where Michael's like, beef. It's what? What does he say? He says it wrong. It's what's, he said, you know what I'm talking about. And he's like, who wants some man meat? I do, Michael. I want some man meat. But the best food I had this week, speaking of steak, Texas Roadhouse, you guys got it to go. By the way, how's that place just constantly busy no matter what? Like
Always, dude.
It's just
Always.
insane, just a madhouse. They've got their opening just for takeout now, obviously post-COVID. You get the sirloin, you get the mashed potatoes with that creamy gravy. You know what I'm talking about, that white creamy gravy, not that brown stuff. That's what she said. And then you get a side salad. Oh my gosh, you guys, best food I had this week. Shout out to Texas Roadhouse.
You didn't even mention the
Oh,
rolls.
and well, I mean, that goes without saying. Yes, I did have some rolls.
Okay. Well,
Chipotle Bear, close it up here. What was the best food you had this week?
Well, just a quick mention since you brought up Texas Roadhouse. On behalf of my esports team, anyone that's in the Southwest Denver metro area, if you're going to be in town on Monday, the 22nd of November, and you want to go to the Texas Roadhouse by Santa Fe and 285. They're doing a fundraiser for my esports team. So go buy some buttered rolls and make it
Totally
happen.
forgot that one's over there. That might be
Yeah.
closer. I go all the way to one that Kipling and 470, so maybe.
Oh, no, that one's way closer. Go to that one. Anyway, best thing I had this week was actually on Sunday. Got to have dinner with the parents, and we went out, and we went to Old Chicago's. I had not been there in a long time. I mean, definitely probably pre-COVID. And I got the double deckeroni, which if you don't know what that is, it's not just double pepperoni. It is that, but they also put hot sauce in the pizza sauce, so it's a little spicy as well. Fantastic.
Pepperoni's already had some spice. My gosh, you're a madman over there, Jose.
Yeah. It's okay. 3 sides of corn salsa at Chipotle. What are you talking about? So,
2 Popeyes stops in the same drive home.
you were mad at that lady just because you really wanted to spend $90 on chicken. So we went to Old Chicago's and got the double deckeroni. It was fantastic that night. It was also great the next the next day for lunch at school, which was really, really great. So shout out to Old C's, man. I love me some Old C's. I haven't been there in a long time.
Well, guys, this has been Xbox Record This, episode 28. Thank you so much for everyone out there for listening. My name is Daddy D. Wally. You can follow me at Daddy D. Wally across all social media. Chipotle Bear, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Chipotle_Bear or on Instagram, Chipotle Bear. And very soon you can find me all over Mexico, Forza Horizon 5. I got to go download it right now.
That's what I'm talking about. And Bubble Boy, where can people find you?
In bed sleeping.
All right, as always, gentlemen, see you online.
See you online.
Love that chicken at Popeyes.
Online.
Xbox Record This is a podcast created by Daniel Walenzik. You can follow him at Daddy Diwali on all social media. The assistant to the co-host is Jose Martinez, and you can follow him at Chipotle_Bear on Twitter. The assistant to the co-host is Chance Siegel, and you can follow him at BubbleBoyN7. You can follow the show at Xbox Record This on all social media. If you'd like to find out more about the show, visit xboxrecordthis.com.